Hi friends, good morning. Welcome back to my channel Civil Stuff by Wahid. If you're watching my video for the first time, please do subscribe. This is Muhammad Wahid, lecturer in Civil Engineering, Department of Technical Education, Telangana. So today I have chosen a topic from design of steel structures. Earlier it used to be a common subject, but in C18 scheme it has to be chosen as an elective subject. So this is a very important subject in the field of construction when you are dealing with the trusses. Generally, where you can see these trusses, suppose if you go for any function halls, theaters, okay, any workshops in our colleges, like that, all these are made up of what? Some trusses. So earlier you have studied regarding these trusses in your civil engineering one drawing, king post truss, queen post truss, like that you have studied. And in case of BMCP, building materials and construction practice, also one topic is there, different types of buildings, like, okay, generally these are the different types of steel structures. Okay, so we'll deal in this subject, we'll try to deal regarding what are the different types of steel structures, how the steel structures are formed by using different members, and what are the connections which are used to make a frame of a steel structure, and what is the load carrying capacity of a particular member in a steel structure. Okay, coming to the today's topic, I have chosen the introduction to design of steel structures. So where it is a rigid framework, rigid means some fixity, framework means what? Some geometrical shape will be there, some geometrical shape will be there. Those are nothing but, we call it as what? Steel structure. Now in a steel structure there may be a different structural members. Now what are these structural members? Means some of the members in a whole steel structure will be carrying tensile loads, will be carrying compressive loads, will be carrying flexural loads. Now if a member carrying purely tensile loads is nothing but called as what? Tension member. Next, if a member only carrying compressive loads, we call it as what? Compression member. Next, beams or girders, nothing but beams or girders which will be carrying all flexural loads. Flexural load, and these are horizontal members. These may be horizontal, vertical or inclined. These also same. Next, column bases and connections. All these different members connected to you together by different connections will form a one rigid frame structure of a steel structure. So what are the examples of these steel structures are? If you see the roof trusses, where you can see these roof trusses? In the factories, cinema halls, some indoor stadiums or auditoriums. Next, columns, where you can see columns? Railway stations and bus stations, where for a column, see I am drawing here, for a column there will be a pedestal. For a steel column there will be a pedestal. In general, if you go for a railway stations, where you will be sitting here, right, these are nothing but what? Pedestals. These are nothing but what? Columns. You will be having some extra connections, okay, to make this column as a whole structure, means built up member, right? Next, coming to the plate girders, where you can see means in case of railway bridges, okay, in case of railway bridges and roads, you will be seeing this plate girders. And truss bridges. Truss bridges means what? Just like this, you will be having side walls with this one. These are not only side walls, these will be taking the loads, the tensile loads it will be developed. Generally, if you take care of a suspension bridges, like that. And water tanks. Water tanks also are made up of steel in earlier days. Nowadays we are using some what? RCC elements. Okay. Next, chimneys. Chimneys means what? smoke exhausters in case of any factories which are emitting out the smoke. We'll be using the chimneys with the iron one, or we will be using the RCC element also. Coming to the transmission towers, high tension lines will be there, right, where AP Transco, TS Transco will be there, will be supplying the power from what generation to substations. In those situations we will be using this transmission towers. Okay, you will be seeing across anywhere in the outskirts of the city these transmission towers. And coming to this one, in order to frame this roof truss or a column or plate girder, we need to go for some connections. Okay, now what are the different types of connections? There are three different types of connections. One is welded connection, bolted connection, and riveted connections. Now, as per our syllabus, we have welded connections. And so, as per our syllabus, we have what? Welded connections. Now, see, generally, connection nothing but we will be doing at some joints. Suppose if I take a truss here, okay, if I take a truss, you will be having what? Different members. Okay, now we'll see in the last topic of this subject, that is roof trusses. These are nothing but principal rafters. This is main tie tension member. Now different members are there. Some are you taking tensile loads, some are taking compressive loads, and struts are taking so at this particular point we will be going to connect. Okay, either with the help of what? Welded, riveted, or bolted. But directly we can't do this. Here we will be providing some gusset plates. We call it that gusset plate. To these gusset plates, these members and these members will be connected depending upon the loading conditions. So even though you are connecting, these connections may or may not resist the movement that are developed due to these loading conditions. Okay, so generally when there is a force in a member, with a particular distance, there may be a chances of getting the movement. So those movements may or may not be what? Resisted by the connections. Okay, and why I am saying this? See, in everything, in our body also, we will be considering joints are the weakest part. Suppose if I take a hand, okay, so if I take my let us say I take my elbow, for example, elbow. So if I get a pain here, it is if I get any scratch here or any force applied here, it will be not that much affected. But if I get a what we call wound here, it is more effective because this is a joint where movement of this hand will be like this. Okay, so in this part, because of having more movement, the pain will be low. So we consider these type as a joints are the weakest point in a member, in a structure. So similarly, not only in our human body, in every structure, wherever the joints are there, you are supposed to take care, because joints are very much weakest points because they may not resist the movements, right? So generally, whatever the steel we are using, it is a mixture of iron and carbon, alloy of iron and steel, right? Next we'll go for the another slide. Coming to, we'll see what are the advantages and disadvantages of the steel structures over with respect to reinforced concrete structures. Now see, if I construct a building or any structure with reinforcement, concrete structures, what happens? We will be going for formwork, we will be going for laying cast structure, we will be curing for minimum of 14 to 28 days depending upon the type of structure. Now how many days it is taking? For formwork, for example, say 1 day, okay, and for cast 1 day, and for curing, let us say it is of a minimum important structure, so we will be going for 14. So 16 days we have to wait to get 80% of completion of the work. Whereas if I construct the same structure with the steel, with a 1 or 2 days we can complete the structure. So we call this as what? Speedy in construction. Okay, Next, material can be reusable, means once if I have completed the temporary shed, if I am laid there, I can remove it and I can use any other place. Whereas concrete structure, if I construct, so the no option to use another way, because you have to dismantle it. You have to dismantle it, right? Next, suppose if I done any mistakes in the structure while doing with the steel, you can make for the alterations and go do some modifications. Whereas if I done the mistake with RCC, it is not make to do alterations, because it has to dismantle, because once it is set, it is completed, finished. Okay, and it is having high strength per unit mass. Okay, we'll see what is the unit mass in the physical properties of the steel structures, and which occupies less space compared to RCC. So generally, if I take a column made up of RCS, okay, earlier days we are supposed to make a column of huge size, but with concrete structures. Now, after introducing the steel in the columns, we have been reduced our column size. Earlier it used to be somewhat like this. Now we have reduced, because of what? We are increasing the load carrying capacity and decreasing the size of the column. That is the importance of the steel. Based upon that, and it occupies less space. Very long life of the steel will be there, but condition is proper care is to be taken. If proper care means what? Regularly lubrications, okay, painting, all this has to be done. Maintenance should be done properly. Then only you can use it lifelong. Okay, and coming to the disadvantages. Okay, so definitely any member or anything will be having some advantages and at the same time some disadvantages. So even us also, one part will be having some advantage, means someone will be liking our nature, someone may not like our nature, right? So everything will be having the advantages and disadvantages. So here the steel members are very costly and maintenance cost is also high. Okay, and it may susceptible to corrosion. Okay, because if maintenance is not done properly, it is subjected to corrosion. And it is low resistance to fire. Low resistance to fire means what? High temperature stresses. High temperature stresses will be there, because it is resistance to fire is very low. And it requires a skilled labor for fabrication. Okay, while fabricating any transmission tower or high tension tower, you are supposed to go for high skilled labors, right? And it cannot be made into any desired shape as that of a concrete. Because concrete means what? If you want to require one shape, based upon that one you will be preparing a mold of a formwork, then you will be going. But here it is cannot to. Now different types of steel structures are generally they are classified as mild steel and high tensile steel. So these are the different codes: IS 226, IS 2062, IS 961, IS 1977, in which you will be getting standard quality one, fusion weldable quality, means welded will be arc welding, gas welding, like that. Okay, in that fusion welding means what? It is somewhat gas. Okay, gas welding means fire will be developed, and high tensile steel and ordinary requirement. Okay, and next we'll go for the another slide. So here we'll see about the physical properties and mechanical properties. So these are already in code book. I forgot to tell you, for design of steel structures you required two things. One is IS 800 2007, IS 800 2007, and steel tables. Steel table book is must and should. Okay, now we'll see the importance of steel table later in the next slide. Here what are the physical properties? Means here unit mass of steel. Mass, when you are talking about the mass, you are supposed to go with rho, and if you are talking with the unit weight, you are supposed to go for gamma. So here unit mass of steel is 7850 kg per meter cube. 7850 kg per meter cube. And here modulus of elasticity is E equals to 2 into 10 power 5 Newton per mm square. So this will be constant. This will be constant for any grade of steel. Any grade of steel. Suppose if I go for mild steel, if I go for structural steel or high tensile steel, for every steel, the Young's modulus of elasticity is what? 2 into 10 power 5 Newton per mm square. Coming to the Poisson's ratio. What is this Poisson's ratio means what? It is the ratio of lateral strain to longitudinal strain. Lateral strain to longitudinal strain is nothing but a means if whenever a member is applied with a load, it will be going to change its dimension in both the directions. One is this direction and one is this direction. Okay, so lateral strain to longitudinal strain means if I apply a load like this, the strain will be like this, means reducing and at the same time increase. Means suppose a member is there, I am applying a load like this. Okay, so if I will apply a load of a compressive load, what happens? This structure may become like this. Means what? It is elaborating in one direction and reducing its diameter in the another direction. That is nothing but it is defined as the ratio of lateral strain to longitudinal strain. So it is denoted by mu or 1 by m, which is the Poisson's ratio for steel is 0.3. And modulus of rigidity G. Okay, I think earlier you have studied all these things in a stresses and strains topic in your earlier schemes as engineering mechanics, and later you have studied in strength of materials. Okay, the modulus of rigidity G is equals to 0.769 into 10 power 5 Newton per mm square. And coming to the coefficient of thermal expansion, okay, it is 12 into 10 power minus 6 per degree centigrade. So these are the 5 important physical properties of a steel structure. And here you may expect this question in your mid examinations or external examinations. And even though these values are very much important in case of ESET also, ESET examination also, these values are very much important. Okay, and coming to the mechanical properties. So this is as per clause number 2.2.4.2 and this is 4.1, same code, and the page numbers are 12 and 13. In table number 1 of page number 13 of IS 800 2007, you will be having values, you will be having different values of steel for different grades. Now what values will be there for a particular steel means you will be having yield stress, you will be having a ultimate stress, and you will be having a maximum percentage of elongation. Like that you will be having different values. Now what do you mean by this yield stress? It is a point on a stress strain curve when sudden increase in strain without increase in stress. Okay, means okay, so this is what, say for example stress strain curve, this is stress and this is strain. Okay, so you will be having different proportionality limits. I think you have studied earlier in your strength of materials, that is theory of stresses and strains topic. Okay, it is a point on a stress strain curve, when sudden increase in strain without increase in stress, means continuous strain will be increasing without increase in the stress. This portion we called is what? Strain hardening portion. We called is what? Strain hardening portion. It is a portion between lower yielding point and ultimate strength. Okay, this is yield stress. Now yield strength means what? Maximum strength that can be applied, without permanent deformation of the test specimen. Means I will be applying the maximum load where the member will not go for permanent deformation, is nothing but what? Yield strength. Okay. Now, what is this ultimate? Ultimate means what? Maximum stress value obtained on a stress strain curve, where before breaking whatever the maximum value we got is nothing but called as what? Ultimate stress. Now, see, these are the values where you can see in your, what I say, page number 13 of IS 800 2007. So grade will be there. E6 165 means FE 250, okay, sorry, 290, E 250, E 250, like that you have different values. So what is this? What? Ultimate tensile strength in Newton per mm square, or MPa, yield strength and percentage of elongation. These are the values will be there in your table number 1 of page number 13. Please refer those values, okay, which are very, very important. And how to calculate maximum percentage of elongation. Okay, this will be very interesting. Suppose if you know regarding the universal testing machine, okay, I think you have studied in your material testing laboratory regarding the universal testing machine. In that you can perform the compressive strength values, you can perform the tensile strength values of a test specimens. Suppose if I take a specimen, say this is a mild steel, okay, this is a mild steel of say 12 mm, okay, let us say 12 mm means of grade Fe 250 for example, right? Now here I want to use universal testing machine, okay. Now there should be, means load will be applied like this. It will be a pull load, okay. I can't accommodate the universal testing machine here. I will try to keep the figure here. Now in this between the length we called as what? Gauge length. Gauge length. How to calculate this gauge length? Means there is a formula 5.65 root of A naught. What is this A naught? Area of the specimen you are taking. So I have chosen what? Fe 250, okay, of 12 mm dia, okay, steel rod of a 12 mm dia of grade this one. So if I calculate pi by 4 into 12 square, you will be getting the area. You substitute here, you will be getting the length. That much length should be there, should be fixed between these two jaws, and start applying the load. So based upon that one, you will be getting the maximum percentage of elongation, okay. See, for a mild steel, the percentage of elongation will be shown, means because mild steel is nothing but having ductile nature. Ductile property means it will be showing maximum elongation before failing. That is nothing but a mild steel nature. The nature of mild steel is what? Ductile. Next here, suppose if elongation is non-proportional. Non-proportional is what? Stress is not proportional to strain, that is. Then in those situations, what you are supposed to do? From the stress strain curve, at 0.2% of strain, you draw a line parallel to this proportionality line. At that particular point, whatever the stress you are getting, that is the stress which is called as a proof stress. Now for which type of members you will be getting non-proportional, means for brittle materials, means high yield strength deformed bars, you will be getting this type of conditions, right? So this is regarding your mechanical properties. And notch toughness, it is nothing but hardness, okay. So these are the some of the mechanical properties of steel structures. We'll go for the next slide. So coming to the rolled steel sections. Now what is this rolled steel section means? It is a steel section of standard size, standard shape and standard length which is available, readily available in the market. So based upon those things only you are going to design a member. You are going to design what? Member. Now, how to know the standard size, standard length and standard shape and weight? So here comes the importance of steel table. What is this? Steel table. Steel table is nothing but it is the book where you will be having the different rolled steel sections with their dimensions, geometrical structure details, its weight, its cross-sectional area, its radius of gyration, its section modulus, its moment of inertia, whatnot, everything will be there. What you studied in your engineering mechanics different times, what you studied in engineering mechanics, just area calculations, centroids, moment of inertia, section modulus, radius of gyration, like that. Okay, all these are there in the steel table. So that is the reason while designing you are supposed to use steel table along with the code book IS 800-2007 for design of steel structures. Now coming to here, what are the different types of rolled steel sections? So the types of rolled steel sections are I sections, channel sections, angle sections, T sections, plates, flats, okay, and bars and tubes. These are the different types of rolled steel sections. Okay, these different types of sections can be used as a compressive member, can be used as a tension member, okay, can be used as a strut, like that will be using. Okay, now what will be available in steel means, just now again I am writing here. First you will be having area. Next, what will be available in weight, okay, Newton per meter or kg per meter, okay, and what will be there? It's suppose if I take I section, flange width, flange thickness, depth of web or overall web, like that you will be having. Okay, area, weight, width of flange, thickness of flange, okay, depth of the member, okay. Next, properties like centroid along x-axis, centroid along y-axis you will be there. Next, radius of gyration along x-axis, radius of gyration along y-axis, okay. A moment of inertia about x-axis, moment of inertia about y-axis, section modulus will be there, okay. And generally section modulus you have studied, but in the steel structure while designing with the design of beams you will be studying about the elastic section modulus, plastic section modulus. Now for this the values will be obtained from annexures of IS 800-2007. Okay, so these are the some of the basic topics. I have divided this into 3 parts, okay, and this is my part 1. Okay, hope you understood the video completely. Thank you for watching my video. Okay, please do follow for more videos on this subject. Thank you.